Alright y'all, quick backstory about the intro song Go to Sleep by Eminem, DMX, and Obi Trice. Now this was during the height of the Ja Rule versus pretty much everybody phase, and when Ja Rule made a diss record towards Eminem's daughter, not only did he reply, but DMX, who already did it like Ja Rule, put it into the intro song of this movie, literally right before Ja Rule did his own movie with Steven Seagal. You see that? Rap beefs were so wild back in the day, they used to end up in motion pictures. Alright y'all, back to the movie. We start the movie off with Fate, played by the late great DMX, and Miles, played by Melvin Smalls, sneaking through a subway station to get inside of a high security building. At the same time, Daria and Tommy, played by Gabrielle Union and Anthony Anderson, enters the same building to distract the guards. They are after a specific set of diamonds inside of the vault, and at the same time, Sue, played by none other than Jet Li, goes straight to the source to figure out how to get to the diamonds. Shout out to these impressive stunts done here, leaping from floor to floor. Sue finds his target and gives him a couple of slaps to let him know, hey, I ain't playing. Buddy of course spills the beans about the stones and Sue leaves him to be. After switching up the plans because of a new development.
Change of plans, he's gay. You're up.
No way.
Yes, way.
Tommy was able to successfully distract the guard, while Fate, Daria, and Miles break into the vault. I truly recommend this one for this exchange alone. This scene is hilarious and Anthony Anderson sells his part.
I guess one day I'll have to come in here and do a little shoplifting and let you catch me, wrestling you down and cuff me.
They are able to grab what they came for, which are these black diamonds, and then some. But then Sue calls Fate to tell him that the cops are on the way and that he needs to let go of those black diamonds. Fate is not trying to hear that, so they get up out of there. Fate, Daria, and Miles split up on some Scooby-Doo type mess to make sure that somebody gets away with some diamonds. Fate and Daria run into some cops, but with some slick maneuvering, they were able to get away from them. Unfortunately, Miles ends up getting the short end of the stick and runs into Sue. Miles tries to hit him with a 3-piece and a biscuit, but Sue isn't hungry right now. Miles tries his best, but I can tell you right now that his moves are pretty much telegraphed for Sue. But Miles is no bitch. But he is smart and he knows that this ain't working, so Sue gets away with the diamonds that Miles has. Unfortunately for Sue, they were not the black diamonds that he was searching for. Meanwhile, Ling, played by Mark Dacascos, arrives in LA to get ready for his plans when he finds out that the black diamonds were stolen. Sue heads back to the crime scene, searching for more evidence. This is where it is revealed that he is also law enforcement for the Korean government. It is also revealed that Fate is a single father to a daughter named Vanessa, who he gets a diamond necklace. Don't worry about where he got it from. Magic. After he tucks her to bed, the gang meets up to discuss what happened with that heist. Miles talks about his ass whooping, and Fate puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that it's the same person that called them. Fate heads out to get some answers, so he goes sees Archie, played by Tom Arnold. Archie's a dealer of all trades, and Fate goes to him to seek out more information about the black diamonds. Archie has also never seen these type of diamonds before, so this intrigues him to investigate. Fate's new plan now is to sell the black diamonds since that's all he has. He then heads to the person who hired him for the job so he can get more answers. But Buddy is already 6 feet under, metaphorically. This is when Fate finally meets Sue. Sue wants him to hand over the diamonds, but he'd rather hand over hands. Their fight gets interrupted by none other than Ling himself. And once again, Fate does not care. He just wants to know who's paying for these diamonds. And since nobody's raising their hands, he slides out. But it doesn't take too long for Fate to realize that he's being pursued. Fate is able to corner them, giving him a chance to pop off. I respect the DMX fight scenes. It's definitely more practical and more realistic to how somebody would scrap in this type of scenario. Fate is still adamant on saying no, but even so, Sue arrives in the nick of time. So now we have a 2-on-2 and we truly get to see the difference between Fate and Sue's fighting style. Fate is street trained. Meanwhile, Sue is completely trained and smooth with it. Look how clean he is, just putting the jacket back on. Sue completely outclasses his opponent and even does it with one hand in his pocket the entire fight. Fate and Sue are dominating in their fight and ends up knocking them both into a cage, letting two big ass Dobermans out. Fate unlocks the power of the almighty Timberlands and does a backflip on the wall into a front flip. You heard what I said. Even Sue was shocked at the power of the Tims. After they manage to get away from the dogs, Archie calls with bad news. Someone ran into Archie's spot and took the diamonds for themselves. Those thugs turned out to be working for Chambers, the kingpin of LA, and at this point, Fate is pretty much calling this a loss. Just as he's about to leave, Ling calls him up and says that he has his daughter. So not only is Fate now about to lose it, but now he has to stick around with Sue just to get the black diamonds back. So they drive to go see Chambers, and while they're driving, Sue tries to ease Fate's mind, so they get to talking for a little bit. Jet Li and DMX was an underrated duo back in the day. They finally meet up with Chambers, and convincing him to give back the black diamonds was just as difficult as they thought it was going to be. Chambers is still salty about Fate stealing Daria away from him, so he plays hardball. But how can you blame Fate? I mean, 14+ million albums sold worldwide? Come on now, your girl's about to get taken regardless.
Yo, let me at it.
Oh, he fired. They get nowhere with Chambers, and now they have to figure out where the diamonds are on their own. Fate uses the power of plot device, his gut feeling, to tell Sue that the black diamonds are possibly in his club. So Fate uses that gut feeling and heads to the club while Sue goes back to Archie's spot to get more answers. The plan starts with Daria entering the club, finding her target. After that, Sue and Archie head to one of Chambers' spots to find more clues. The most Archie can remember from that night he lost the diamonds was that the dude whooping his ass had a fantastic pinky ring, so he searches for that inside of this underground fight club.
I gotta make sure Mr. Pinky Ring doesn't recognize me, so got a little disguise.
See, this bullshit was done way before Marvel. To get in, Archie disguises Sue as one of the fighters joining the fight tonight. Shout out to the director Andre Barkariak, because he recruited actual MMA fighters for this scene. Right now, we are looking at Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell go at it.
On a good day, over $1 million will change hands.
Just find the ring.
Sue is not an MMA fan though, so he makes Archie go straight to work. While they're doing that, Daria is doing her job and distracting the club owner that works for Chambers so that the next phase of the plan can happen. Tommy distracts the guard and is able to get the office room cleared so that Fate and Miles have enough time to sneak in and look for the diamonds. This scene is elaborate and hilarious. I really recommend watching this movie. Things were going according to plan until they had to blow open the safe, which alerted everyone. Fate makes Miles leave the scene and puts up a good fight before he gets caught. Back to the underground fight, while Archie's looking for the ring, he reveals to Sue that he knows a little bit more about the Black Diamonds than what they appear to be. The announcer then calls Sue's number to fight MMA sensation Randy Couture.
Let's go, chicken shit.
Fun fact, Randy and Chuck Liddell fought 3 times. Go check those fights out. Sue is in the ring stalling while Archie is looking for the pinky ring. Once Archie finds the pinky ring, Sue immediately tries to give up, but the crowd isn't having that. Apparently the rules are everybody gets to throw hands once you quit. Sue then one-ups Ip Man and faces 14 MMA fighters at once. He can't keep his hand in his pocket this time. Fate sees his chance to escape and makes a break for it. Yo, I wish I could let you hear this music. The song is X gon' give it to ya! And anybody who's a fan of DMX knows this song. X was actually gonna save this song for his album, but the studio convinced him to put it in the movie soundtrack instead. Fate then takes a 4-wheeler and heads out. The owners didn't like that at all, so they start the pursuit immediately. So now we have a back-to-back action scene where Sue defends himself off MMA fighters and Fate runs from the cops and more. Sue gets serious for the first time and starts wrecking shop. Fate's high-speed chase is now going all over LA. Tito Ortiz is finally tired of seeing Sue whoop everybody's ass, so he joins in. Tito then eats a 4-piece, then lands his own jab. Once Sue starts to fight dirty, everybody gets back to jumping. Sue has good defense but quickly needs to retreat. Also, Fate needs to look into extreme sports once he's out the robbing game. The crazy thing about this scene is that DMX really didn't ride the quad, even though he loves the quad.
I don't know if people out there in TV land notice that, sometimes when you're driving, you're not really driving, you're on a cart, and they're just pulling you and it looks like you're driving. I don't like that. I didn't like that part at all. Cause I gotta make the face and everything and I'm just being pulled around,
Sue now has the perfect setup to where everyone can come at him pretty much one at a time. Finally able to finish enough off, Sue makes his exit. Fate then Batmans his way across a few buildings before he is able to hide and get picked up by his crew. Sue links back up with Archie and they figure out where the stones are. Ling himself then meets up with Chambers to find out where the stones are. Of course, Chamber wants a good number for the stones, but Ling is not here for that and does not have the patience. Young Vanessa has been trapped inside of a van this entire time and uses the same necklace that her dad gave her to break free from the tied up situation that she's in. Meanwhile, with another lead, the gang heads out to another club in search for the Black Diamonds. They soon discover that Ling has already gotten to this club first and finally has the Black Diamonds and Vanessa. Fate starts to lose it because he now has no leverage to get his daughter back. Ling is getting ready to test the black diamonds out, and at the same time, Vanessa finally breaks free and searches the van to find a phone where she's able to call her father from. This is why it is important to make sure your young kids memorize your phone numbers. Fate can't believe it and gets her to tell him as much detail as possible to where she's at before the phone cuts off. That's when Sue learns that Ling is going to perform the test tonight, and that's when everyone else figures out what these stones really are.
Are these stones?
Their new form of synthetic plutonium. Small and portable, but mega powerful, am I right? There's a whole bunch of international scumbags who pay a lot of money to get their hands on those.
They use the rest of the clues to find out where Vanessa, Ling, and everyone else who's trying to buy a piece of the black diamonds are at. Ling then shows a demonstration of how powerful these diamonds are.
We're now reaching the yield level of a Sidewinder missile. Tomahawk cruise missile. That's a few city blocks gone. Hiroshima. New World Order.
8.7 million for 10 stones.
And once he's finished, the arm dealers in the building immediately go frantic for these diamonds. While that's going on, the crew finds their way to get inside. Archie and Tommy are the first ones to show up with a full-blown tank. This gives Vanessa a chance to run, and one of the henchmen uses this distraction to get his own firepower as well. Sue finally runs into Ling, but gets distracted by Ling's girl. Tommy, on the other hand, is just out here firing. Daria shows up to save Sue and apparently uses her rope-a-dope style against the female fighter. We then see Sue chase after Ling and Fate chase after his daughter. Ling is about to get away, but Archie finally uses the tank and shoots down the helicopter. First, how the fuck did he just get up out that helicopter? Second, the crash turned the scene into another Ring of Fire scenario, similar to the one we saw in Romeo Must Die. Fate finally catches up with his daughter and squares up with the muscle of the henchman. And now the three-way fight scene begins. Ling starts off with those Tekken kick combos, while Daria and Anthony are struggling in their own fight as well. Ling is popping off with these kicks, giving enough distance to kick and not get hit. Sue finally catches him in the air. Their dance is hell of impressive and is far above the final fight scene from Romeo Must Die. I even like this bob and weave dance they partake in. Daria is in a good dance herself, and just as her opponent just couldn't take it anymore, she decides to get the strap. Daria does a clean counter maneuver and lets her pop on her own self. My dog Sue comes back with his own Tekken kick combos though. The only reason Fate is having a hard time is because not only he's fighting, but he is also protecting his daughter as well. But once again, slick maneuvering secured him the victory in this fight.
Wrong kid! Definitely the wrong father.
Sue wraps up his fight as well by being able to put one of those explosive black diamonds inside of Ling's throat. Hey, just throwing it out there, but Jet Li was able to do 2 back-to-back fatalities in his movies. Alright, and we already know how this wraps up. Fate meets up with the crew, Sue gets his diamonds, and everybody lives happily ever after. This movie was on point and definitely an upgrade from the last Jet Li and DMX encounter. What's even more impressive is that this movie had way more stunts, way more fight choreography, much more fighting than the last time these two linked up, and the majority of cast was utilized a lot better than the last film with the exact same budget. Really good watch. Definitely check it out. The next movie I'm going to check out is Jet Li's Fearless. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content. Until the next time, y'all be easy.